Yo, 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 this is Dorky Diggity Dave, and today we talk about how to fight stun immune, nodes, champions, and all that other stuff like a ninja. Let's run it. So, you spent all this time learning how to parry, perfecting that skill until you were a smooth parry operator. Then all of a sudden you had stun immune nodes, champions who can shrug off debuffs, or champions who just speed up the debuff time, leaving you perplexed and at the mercy of your potions and your revive stash. No one likes that. So, today I'm telling you that there is something different going on. We are going to change all of that. Today, we are canceling the apocalypse and learning how to fight stun immune. Let's get into it. First things first, you already know everything you need to know if you've already watched the Ninja series. If not, go ahead and click on the link below. There is a link to the training playlist which has all the videos that precede this one and pretty much have everything you need to understand what we're talking about here. Go ahead and have a look and come on back. Stun immune is all about finding openings. Now, blocking is probably the most common way, but it's also the most inefficient way because you take so much damage with every hit. Now, you can bait out a heavy, but it's really not worth it. Blocking should only be used as a fallback or an emergency method. Now, stun immune actually is built on these building blocks. One, evading and dexterity, which is kind of the same thing. A little bit confusing because you say evade, but now it's dexterity. Anyway, the second is intercepting, the third is baiting, and the fourth is managing power meters. Not only yours, but your opponent's. And all of these things work together in tandem to form sweet stun immune persuasion. So the name of the game here is looking for openings. How can we find that opening to get an attack in on this opponent? Now, as I discussed earlier, blocking is the easiest way to do it. It's just that you take damage. So as you can see here, you are baiting out a heavy attack, which is your first opening. But this came at the cost of almost 10% of your health. So obviously that's not going to work out all that well, especially in endgame content. So let's find some better ways to do this. Now, evading is next on the docket, and more specifically, the shallow evade. Now, this is when you evade just a little bit early so that by the time your opponent's dash is over, he's close enough to try to attack you again. Now, be mindful, you're not always going to get a second medium right away. Sometimes they'll try to attack with a couple lights before the medium. You just have to know your opponent well enough to know when they're doing a light attack and when they're doing a medium attack. Now, the deep evade gives you a couple of options. One, they either back off and then come at you, which opens the door for intercepts, or they back off and they block, which also still gives you an intercept opportunity, but it also helps you to power manage here. But we'll get more into power management a little later on in the tutorial. Now, if you want more options for evading and intercepting, there are links to the how-to videos below in the description. Now, next on the list is baiting. Now, this is where you trick your opponent into executing their special, thus giving yourself another opening to return attack. Now, there are many different types of ways to bait, and of course, you can find all of those in the How to Bait Like a Ninja video, also in the description below. So now that you have a good idea of how to find openings, power management comes into play here because it takes all of those techniques and it's kind of the glue that keeps them all together. This helps to keep a good rhythm on the fight and keeps it fluid. So here are just a few techniques that will help you keep your stun immune game on that good tip. So first things first, you want to always make sure that you're increasing your opponent's power meter. Now, you can do this either through attacks or you can do it through block strings if your opponent is blocking. Now look at this example. He just used his L1, so now I've almost got my L1. I'm going to build up his power meter. And then here I'm using my special to push him even further. He didn't quite get to his L1, so now I'm going to use my block string to push him over. And from here, I'm going to use my baiting to get him to use a special, so I create another opening and continue on attack. Many of the fights you'll have to learn the limits of the power meter. Now, many times you don't want to pass the L1. That doesn't mean you can't fill up the L2 bar, just don't complete it. So as you see in this example, I've backed off right at the point of the L2, This way I can keep a rhythm going of the L1 and take full advantage. Now notice here how I'm not using my L1 after this combo. It's not necessary because then I'll put him over the L2. So I'm just going to bait out an attack, and then this way I can use my special on him. And again, I've backed off right before the L2 while I have a full L1 ready to go. And we just rinse and repeat. Now keep in mind that there are going to be some exceptions to these rules. Things like power drainers, for example, like Hawkeye. His first special drains power, and that messes up my flow and rhythm of stun immune. So I have to rely on my intercepts and other options. So just keep in mind who you're using and how to use them when you're fighting stun immune. Now on the opposite end, you have the opponent who might have an L1 that you can't fully evade, or something that pushes you back a little too far so that you can't counter. So you're gonna have to rely heavily on your other options, like intercepting, for example. So here's a practice fight that I have, and I know it's ice on ice violence, that ain't right, but you get to see some examples of how we used all the things we've learned today in an actual stun immune fight. Now notice I'm not really going for those block strings just as yet because his block pattern is a little too erratic. That means he's going to intercept me if I try to go at him. So I'm waiting for a solid block. There we go. Now here I've gone for a shallow evade, and I was able to counter him when he put out his second medium while baiting out a heavy attack. So from here I'm just trying to get his special to come out, and here we go. Now you want to be mindful of what your L1 can do in terms of pushing your opponent's power meter. You want to make sure you're not going over the L2 so that you can keep this rhythm going. And it looks like we're in good shape here. We just have to evade one more special, and it looks like this one is done. And I got tagged a little bit there, but that's alright. We can still finish this out because we got a shallow evade and we were able to counter. So give it a shot yourself. Get out there and practice. I'd love to see what you guys are up to, and I'd love to see how far you can get with your new stun immune ability.
Once again, this is Dorky Diggity Dave. You just learned how to fight stun immune just like a ninja. So now you can start whooping tail all over the Battle Ram, Alliance Wars, and Alliance Quests, and all kinds of good stuff. So if you liked the video, and I hope that you did, go ahead and click subscribe, click like, leave a comment, share with your friends, share with your mama. All that stuff helps me out. And if you want to further help out, go ahead and check out the description below. There's lots of ways to help out Dork Lessons, including getting one of these nifty Stay Dorky t-shirts. So, anyway, stay dorky, and I'll catch y'all on the flip. Yo to the yo, this is Dorky Diggity Dave. Today, we're talking about how to fight stun immune like a ninja, like you should, like you like it, like you need it, like you want it, like your mama want it, like your friends want it, like everything else, like how you want it. Why my accent changing? Man, I know anything, no, everything crazy, but stun immune. Talking about how to fight stun immune like a ninja. Been waiting for it. Been about to. Never mind. New one. Off debuffs or severely take down their. There's gonna be a lot of bloopers on this one. Today we are canceling the apocalypse. Okay. Baby. Here we go. One more time. Master parry operator, and that's not the one. There's a lot of these. This one's kind of hard. One more time. Below, there's a link to the playlist of the entire How to Fight in MCOC training or something like that. But at higher levels, blocking does not, no. Blocking does give you some openings for, say, heavy attacks and things like that, but I gotta start that one over. Because I really don't know what I was gonna say, and that's probably the problem. No. Badly, bad. All right, that's good. That is good. I hope that that all worked out. Okay.